Good morning, Year 9. I'm just going to whiz through the answers to the work from yesterday just to make sure we kind of understand what we were talking about, where we maybe went wrong in the lesson. So this is using Pear Deck. I'm very impressed. Most of you have just managed to take to this like a duck to water. I'm going to also show you a couple of tricks, particularly Ewan and his giant fat pen. Okay, so initially we began talking about specialized cells. What could you remember about specialized cells from the cell topic in September? A cell that has a change in structure. For example, a sperm cell has a tail to make it swim. A red blood cell has lost its nucleus, so it has more space for oxygen. So a change in structure to allow it to perform a specific function. Okay, then I asked you to read a couple of slides of information and to highlight words you didn't understand. So I have highlighted the words that came up a lot from different people. But basically what we're looking at here with organization of life is that most things are made of cells. Well, everything living is made of cells, and that cells will join together to make tissues. And if you look at this diagram, you can see that similar cells work together to make a tissue. And then tissues, different tissues, will work together to form an organ. So organs are groups of different tissues that work together. Tissues are a group of similar cells, and cells are the basic building blocks of life. Now, I would suggest in the next lesson that if you are not very good at remembering information, or you read it and you thought, I know all of this, that perhaps you need a sheet of paper and you need to make some notes, because all of the questions came from these next two slides. Okay? So the next slide was about examples of structures. So cells are made of parts called organelles. So an example there is a nucleus. We learned 8 cell parts in plant and animal cells. So we learned about cell walls, cell membranes. We learned about cytoplasm, vacuoles, mitochondria, ribosomes, absolutely tons of parts. And all of these little parts are called organelles. These organelles join together to make a cell. Cells join together to make the tissue. Tissues are made of similar cells working together, and then these tissues will work together to make organs. Organs will work together to make an organ system, and then that will become something called an organism. An organism is a living thing. So I asked you to number these structures from the smallest to the largest. So the smallest one is an organelle, the parts that make up the cell. Then a cell. Cells make tissues, which is number 3. Tissues make organs, which is number 4. Organs make organ systems, which is number 5. And organ systems make organisms. So that was the order of those numbers. Then I asked you to match up the words with the description. So if you look back 2 slides, there is all the answers for this task. So if we start at the top, an organ system is a group of organs with related functions working together to perform a function in the body. An organelle is a specialized unit within a cell, performs a specific function. Cells are the basic building blocks of living organisms. Organs are structures made up of different tissues working together to perform specific functions. And tissues are a group of cells working together to perform a shared function, often with a similar structure. Next, I asked you to label any of these organ systems that you knew. And when we kind of went through it, the only one that every single person in class that responded knew was the digestive system. So at some point, every other type of system came up. So on the left, we've got the skeletal system. This is your skeleton. Then we have the circulatory system, so your heart, your blood vessels. Then we've got your respiratory system, which is your lungs and your trachea. We've got the nervous system, the endocrine system. Then we have the digestive system. We have the excretory system. I think also, I'm not sure 100% what that second last one is. And then we've got the muscular system. Okay, luckily for you in this module, the only ones we need to learn about are the circulatory system, the respiratory system, and the digestive system. So only 3 that we need to look at in this topic. Plants also have organs. They have cells and tissues and organ systems. So 4 main organs: flower, sorry, all my alerts coming at once there. We've got the roots, the stems, the leaves, and the flower. And these work together. So the bottom half of the plant, the root, makes the root system. And then we have on the top half of the plant, the shoot system. Okay, and then there was a quiz. What can be thought of as the basic building blocks that make up living things? The answer is cells. One person wrote atoms, and technically that is true, but since this topic was just about cells, tissues, organs and organ systems, then the answer was cells. Next we had tissue. What is a tissue? It's a group of cells working together. What is an organ? A group of tissues working together. What is an organ? What we call a group of organs which work together. This is an organ system. And then there was a little test to see if you really understood. Blood is made of red blood cells and different types of white blood cells. So it's made of lots of different types of cells. Is blood an example of a cell, tissue, organ, or organ system? So the first part of your answer had to be one of those words: cell, tissue, organ, or organ system. And then it says explain why you chose your answer. So blood is a tissue because it's a group of different cells working together. And then at the end, I asked you if you could give me something I could do next lesson. So a couple of people wrote things that they could do, pay more attention to their work, but it was really things that I could add in to make the lessons better. So here are the suggestions that you made. Harder questions, more information to read and highlight, include some videos, and put something fun in like a word search. And then I asked you if you weren't very sure on this topic to watch these videos. So I hope that you watched these videos. If you didn't and you struggled, you're only making it harder for yourself by not doing these extra little bits of revision as we go along. So I will attach the links to these videos and the link to your answers and the link to these answers that I'm giving you now, all onto this assignment as soon as I have uploaded everything. But well done, you worked very hard today and I was very, very impressed.